Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited today. I finally got my hands on a Tamiya Blitzer Beetle. This is a 2011 re-release of this 1993 classic. These are really awesome. As I said, I've wanted one for years, and I finally was able to get my hands on one. I've been checking around, and they've been sold out for a long time. So they're pretty much in demand, obviously. And Tower Hobbies finally had them listed. They've been saying October, November, kept saying that it was going to be in stock and I kind of gave up. Thought to check the other day, they were in stock, and I jumped right on it and ordered one. So I'm excited to get this thing built. I'm going to go brushless on this with the 4300 kV 2S system in this. And from what I've seen from other channels, these things run really well on brushless. So again, I'm really excited to get my hands on this thing and get it built. So this is just going to be an unboxing video. We'll take a look at everything that comes inside here, and then obviously I'll get the thing built. I'm not going to do a build video on this. Those are pretty tedious and people don't watch them too much. But after that, we'll just get a dry review, and once I get this thing built, and we'll do that in a separate video. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get this unboxing started right after this. Alright guys, let's see what all comes inside the box for the Blitzer Beetle. Let's real quick look over the box, because I just love the artwork and just the detail that they put into their boxes. Tamiya has just always been the best at that. Some of the stuff they released, more recent years, they went to just photographs and got kind of away from that, and I was so glad to see they stuck with that, at least on a lot of these re-releases. They're just fantastic looking. All the artwork, as you can see here on the side, they've got their diagrams showing the components, and they usually give you some ideas for upgrades. I don't think this box has that. Now, as you can see, this being a 1993 vehicle, Tamiya has never really gotten into the brushless. So they're still stuck very much in their old 540 brush motors and their proprietary Tamiya connector, and of course using a nickel cadmium or nickel metal hydride pack. But yeah, it shows everything else that comes in here. Pretty much the same all the way around. A little bit more information here showing they always advertise their Tamiya radio systems, which are fine, but they're really expensive and they're not common, and most people don't use them. You used to always use Futabas. Now we've got a boatload of transmitter and receiver options that are much cheaper and much more affordable, making a kit like this much easier on the wallet than years ago when you'd spend $100 on just the transmitter and receiver, and then you had to buy the car on top of it. So let's go ahead and get this guy open. I have not even looked in here yet. If I can get the box open here. Now, as you can mention, as I should mention, that it does come with an electronic speed controller. They've been including a lot of these. Of course, when this was originally released, it was just going to have a servo-controlled speed controller, and those will work with brush motors, or they will work with censored brushless motors. And I don't have a censored one, so I'm just going to use one of my own systems. So here is that ESC in here. Again, I don't have any intentions of using this. That's probably the third one I've got now, so I'm just going to throw it to the side. Let's see what we got here. This is going to be all of our. We'll go ahead and open this up. I don't want to get this too disorganized, so it makes it easier during the build, but it's all packaged. It's not going to necessarily pour all apart, all over the place. But, this is some of the stuff here. It looks like building the shocks. Many pieces for your shocks. Because this does have oil-filled shocks. They just use the Tamiya plastic oil-filled shocks, but I've always found those to be pretty good. They're not the greatest shocks, but they ought to get the job done, where I don't think I need to upgrade to any aluminum or metal ones. That I might at some point, but probably won't need to. A lot of it comes down to the design. All these metal parts here in this bag, which is the A bag. This has your dog bones and the cups here, and some of your tools, and your grease. I think, is that a lithium grease? It just says Tamiya grease for the gearbox. If I say Tamiya, we used to call them Tamiya, Tamiya, I'm sure, is the appropriate or correct way to pronounce it. If I ever say it, it's only because that's the way we used to call them. We used to call them with a long I, the Tamiya sound. Here's some more parts in your B bag. Looks like we've got, again, just various parts. It seems like they didn't always have the most rhyme or reason, but there's definitely a method behind the madness here. And it looks like you've got some of the steering links and stuff in here. Tamiya's, you know, I just said Tamiya. Tamiya's instructions are the best. I mean, they are top notch. So they even have really good diagrams showing you exactly the size of the part, so you can put it right on the screw, like for instance a screw, right on the instruction manual, and you know exactly that you have the correct one. Here's some more pieces for the shocks, including that pretty common, they're yellow soft dampening oil, and your springs. Here's some body clips in there, I believe. Yeah, that's in the C bag. And here is the body. The Volkswagen Beetle body. This is all in black. So I have to see. I've not looked at the painting, you know, schemes too much. I looked for some ideas online, but it looks like, you know, you might be able to just leave this black, I'm thinking. I don't know how much I need to paint any of this. Let me go ahead and get it out. Again, I'm not too familiar, so if I'm telling you guys something wrong, then I apologize, but it looks to me like, I mean, it's already black. You put the decals on, so I don't know offhand how much painting is going to be required on this if I would decide to go with black. Now, I've seen people do blue. I think, you know, orange. I have some orange, which I used on my Sand Viper. And that would look pretty cool, orange with orange wheels, though, you know, they might not be the exact color of orange. But I mean, I think I may just leave it black like this if that's what is suggested. I'll have to see what the instruction manual suggests for the color schemes, if you have to do any painting or not. But I really like the hard plastic. It's not a Lexan flimsy body, and it looks so much better. Here's some more parts, the bumpers and stuff like that, skid plates, parts of the go on the bottom of the chassis. Let me get this bag out of the way. Again, I mean, the Volkswagen Beetle is just going to look so cool with that design. Here are some pieces of the glass that's going to go up inside of here, I believe. They give it, so you actually have a glass in your body, as you can see. So it's not just wide open. That just adds a bit of realism to it. We'll have to see. I don't know if this has spots in the headlights to actually install LEDs, because I have plenty of light kits available, and I'll have to look into that. If it does, I may go ahead and do that too. I just don't know, looking at the graphics on the box over here, if that is, you know, functioning for that or not. Here's the driver and your steering wheel and some other little pieces. You put him inside there. Now you can see he is painted. Now, obviously he is all black here, so I'm gonna have to decide what I'm gonna do there for the guy. You know, I don't know if you have to put him in there or not. If I do, I'm obviously gonna get some paint and paint brushes, because it'd be much easier to paint this with a paintbrush to color him in a paint scheme. So I'll have to take a look at that and see what they suggest for that. And here's just some more parts, you know, just parts that goes along the bottom here of the car, and it looks like the shock towers, and more pieces along the front to hold the car together, and to the bumper. Just some more various parts, and obviously never built this car. I've had a few cars similar to this, but never one with this Blitzer Beetle. There was a Stadium Blitzer truck, which I don't know. Again, I don't remember. It's been so long if that is similar to this or not in terms of the body. I know you Tamiya guys out there are going to be quick to let me know. Here's some pieces, looks like to the front. So that would be where those headlights go. And this looks like the headlights. So looking right there, I'm thinking offhand that's a no. It's just plastic, and it's going to look like. Now, it doesn't mean you couldn't modify it and drill a hole and put the light in there, maybe, because it looks like a solid piece of plastic. I'm sure we'll go over this to make it look like it's, you know, the lens over the front of the headlight. But then again, I have to look and see for certain. So those are things that are way down the road, the finishing touches at the end. I've got some lights on my lunchbox van back here, but I would like to put lights in. You always need to put some lights in, and I've got sound kits and a lot of stuff from GT Power. But I've got Dumbo RC lights and stuff that will work in these if it is easy to put it in there. Here looks like some other pieces. This might be something to do with the exhaust or something. Look, I'm just guessing here. So if I say something's not what it is, it's because I'm just guessing without the instruction manual in front of me. I'm thinking that's what that is. And here's some parts of the gearbox. These are those hex nuts that go up into the hub of the wheel that actually drives the wheel, is what that is. Looks like some the servo horn up here, it looks like. Here's some of your gears. Now this is just using plastic gears. So, you know, but this looks like that is probably, trying to think if that's 48 pitch on the gears or 32, I'm not sure. Those are hard to see sometimes, but these will be fine on the brush as long as you stick with 2S. You get the 3S and boy, you get such high speeds and become hard to control, but that's where you can start to strip off the teeth of the gears or create so much heat that the gears can start to fail. And here is the chassis of the car. So you're going to attach your front and rear, excuse me, there's just one gearbox in the rear. You're going to attach your gearbox in your front bumper and all that to make the whole car. So again, I got to remind myself this is just a 2-wheel drive buggy. So many of the stuff you buy nowadays are 4-wheel drive. And here are your orange wheels, hubs, whatever you want to call them, and they look really cool. So these are your wheels, and again, that's a much brighter orange than the orange that I have right now. So I really feel like the black body looks so nice that I'm probably going to keep it as is. I like to do my own custom thing so my car doesn't look like everybody else's, but this one's such a nice looking car that I don't know if I'm going to mess with changing it at all. Here are some pieces under the, it goes into the wheels, some of the hub stuff like in here. I'm bad with names, guys, so if you're going, oh my god, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, like, I just have trouble recalling the names for parts at times, so bear with me if I use some weird term where I can't remember it. It's just me. So you got some more parts here. And here are your tires. So obviously get those put onto the orange wheels. So these are your rear tires, and here are the spiked with grooves for the front tires. And this is a 1/10 scale, so this is a pretty decent sized buggy. Put those back in there. Here is the antenna. You can use these. Obviously these were a lot of the 2.4 gigahertz stuff now. The antennas sometimes are just inside the car. Like, it doesn't seem to be as big of a deal as the old analog, you know, systems. You always had the big wire coming out the top. But this is something I'll probably just put the excess wire up in there, and then you may just want to trim it down because you're not going to have that much excess wire on the receivers nowadays. Some more Tamiya, just typical inserts, and then take look at the instruction manual. Here's the decal sheet, and here we can see these really fantastic orangish yellow and contagious. It goes across the top of the right above the windshield. Some of your other little decals, the bugged license plates for California, and the Blitzer Beetle decal. Just a great looking car. This and the Monster Beetle is cool too, but I always thought the Blitzer Beetle looked better. So let me just give you guys a quick look at the instruction manual since I'm not doing a build. There you can see the 550 motor in there, which I didn't look closely. These were always Mabuchi brand 540s. I don't know if that's what they use anymore. I have to dig back in the bag. I didn't pay close attention to my Sand Viper because I'm always replacing those. They're fine. They're reliable. They're okay on speed. They last a long time. But compared to what you can get now with the brushless and stuff. There's no reason to go with that unless you want to stay at total stock retro old school, then it's fine. We used to always just put the higher tuned brush motors in, faster ones by Trinity, and Kyosho even had some, but there was a whole bunch of, I can't even remember, there were so many back in the day. Now you can get so many of the off-brand Chinese brushless kits for $40. There's just no reason to mess with the brush. Here is a Tamiya radio system. You can see in the style of the old instruction manual, you got the retractable metal antenna, which I don't think anybody uses that anymore. And imagine that's just because they stuck with their original instructions. There they're showing the ESC going in that comes with it. So this has been modified to show the newer ESC, which the original didn't. So they maybe Tamiya still uses that old antenna like that. I don't know. There's a instruction assembly section for the shocks, and just your pretty typical stuff. They're typical instructions for installing and constructing the shocks. They always give you a list of some of their recommended tools, which, I mean, their tools are going to be top notch, but they're going to be expensive, and you might find them at a hobby store. But of course, to me, a modeling company, they make a lot of just models that are not RC. So they, their stuff's good and their paints are excellent. So they mention here about putting the driver together, and then they have recommendations for colors. So they do mention paint here on the car. And here putting in like the sunroof and some of the rear assembly pieces for the tail lights. Putting the front piece here, the nose of the car, with the light assembly. And there's how to install the decals. And of course the final steps of how to put the body on the car. Here's kind of a breakdown of all the different bags that are used within the build. Alright guys, that should wrap up the unboxing for the Blitzer Beetle. I'm excited, so excited to get this one built. It'll be a little bit, with family and stuff. It'll take me a week or two maybe before I get this thing finished and ready to go, just because I can't dedicate as much time as I used to when I was younger. I'd spend a day and a half building the car and get it all done. I had nothing else to worry about, but I can't do that now. So we'll get around to this thing when it's finished and get a video published when I'll show you guys the final product, probably right here with everything installed, how it looks, how it shows to do it, any little added details I can let you guys know about the painting or what was required for that, and if I encountered any problems at all, if there was anything weird. Usually the instructions are so good, I don't see any kind of assembly problems, but sometimes you may do something backwards. You're building, oh, I got to fix this, and then you go, oh, I put the servo in upside down or something. So something maybe that I catch that might help you guys out if you would choose to pick up one of these kits. These are around, you got to pay, in the United States, you got to pay sales tax or everything now. So this was around $180 before tax. Shipping was free from Tower Hobbies or Horizon Hobbies. Same company now. Horizon owns Tower. But they had a $20 off 100 coupon, so I applied, and that basically nullified the tax. And this ended up being $180. And was at my door in 2 days, because I live in the same state as Tower Hobbies. All right, guys, that wraps up the unboxing and overview of the Tamiya Blitzer Beetle. Stay tuned to the channel, and we'll get this drive review done as soon as it's finished. If you're new, please consider subscribing. Click the bell every time I publish a video, then YouTube will notify you. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.